Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Wishing you a very happy and relaxing weekend, to start your weekend over here from Tallinn, Estonia. As always, want to be wishing you the best, the happiest of the happiest. We got plenty to talk about because Bitcoin has closed on the CMEs. And with that, there is a few potential changes of behavior that we're looking at. So without further ado, let's get in a live scene right here, right now. And teleportation initiated as we get in and look at the good old daily. Starting off with the daily, of course, daily actually did close above all major movement averages. So I do short term actually think over the weekend we probably do pop back up. Maybe towards the 7,600-ish region. Overall, looking at the daily, we do see still that daily bearish divergence in the RSI is certainly present. Let me just make sure that I'm actually recording. Yes, I am. Good. Okay, mic's working as well. Awesome. Great. Get that out of the way early this time. Fucking yes. Anyways, looking at this, for me, this is majorly played out. More importantly, with this test back down to the 21 exponential moving average, obviously Bitstamp getting lower than all other major exchanges. But really, when it comes down to these massive wicks, I always default to the most official exchange, which is going to be CMEs, from now and going on, because it actually does do some legitimate volume. And there is, that's where the professionals are right now. Anyways, with that said, in kind of ignoring this massive wick on Bitstamp, which no other exchange really has, all the way down to 61.78. Looking at this setup, we do see that daily is kind of setting up for a little bit of a signal here on the daily jewel. Now, this was a signal over here on the 17th of May. But not a perfect signal, a decent signal, kind of similar to what we saw over here on April 11th, but not necessarily a perfect signal. This is a little bit more of a perfect signal, and I'd actually put a lot more weight on something like that, which did produce about a 12 to 13% drop down right over here. Now, we don't really have the same sort of setup that we're looking at right over here. But overall, I would be a little bit cautious, because going back to that discussion of defaulting to CMEs, they did close for the week yesterday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And looking at the weekly, we have a massive long-legged doji dildo on extremely heavy volume. In fact, the highest volume that we've seen on CMEs throughout the history of it. But that's kind of a technicality. It doesn't, it's not really rational, just because this thing hasn't been around for all that long, and it didn't really start to pick up, more trading volume until February, March, April. So, again, this one being massive over here, we really don't have any too much to be comparing it to, but it certainly does stand out in the overall grand scheme of things. Looking at our weekly oscillators, we do see weekly Stokes wanting to cross down. They will cross down when we open up on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, assuming that we actually, over the weekend don't go back to 8,000, which I suppose is possible. I mean, anything's possible in cryptocurrency land, but when we're talking about probabilities and whatnot, with the way that's currently situated, this is typically a sign of indecision, perhaps in reversal. But here's the thing: in order to play something like this, it's very simple. But it's going to require a shit ton of patience, unfortunately. And the way to do that is, if we actually take out the low of this dildo at 63.20 on CMEs anytime next week, then yes, I would be looking for a much more deep retracement down around this region, around the 52 to 5400-ish region, which does line up with our spot charts as a major base for bull operations. Looking at bringing on our drawing tools, we do see this also does match up with the 618 Fibonacci retracement, and we do see the yellow 20 exponential moving average and also the red 10 simple moving average, which actually did get a bullish cross, as of a couple weeks ago. So overall, does look. Elsa's crawling around on the floor right now. Overall, if Bitcoin did come back down around here, this would actually be a major buying opportunity for myself. For a potential long-term hodl. Does that mean that it has to stop right there? Does that mean that it's guaranteed to be an amazing position? No, but it's a fucking phenomenal setup, I will say that. And the reason why that is because you don't have to risk all that much, or at least I wouldn't have to risk all that much in order to find out if this trade would be right or wrong. Essentially, I just have a stop loss somewhere around like 51 or 5,000 even, and potential for a long-term hodl position. But with all that said, I do want to default to the overall mentality that essentially, as long as Bitcoin is above this blue box territory right here, I would run with the assumption that it's overall, okay. Let me just kind of adjust my camera because it's a little bit off center. There we go. Okay, there we go. Come on, camera, do your job. Thank you by the way, for all the people who reached out to me with the camera help. Massive appreciation for that. That was so fucking helpful. I really have no idea what I'm doing with cameras, so it has been just an absolute blessing from all the angels out there who seem to be true professionals in that realm. So massive thank you. Although I can see that I do need to balance out the color probably, because my all jokes aside, my face is not that fucking red. It looks so disgusting on camera. Anyways, with all that said, you can see that there would be areas of interest if we were to take out the low of this build at 6320. The first one would be right around here, right around 5,800 to 6,000-ish region, basically the base of 2018. That would be the first area of interest. I would expect a sizable bounce around there, probably back up into the mid 6,000s, maybe even high 6,000s, but ultimately I would expect a retracement all the way down at the very least here. However, I would change around my overall mentality on this chart if we broke this area, and that would line up for a move back down. Actually test this trend line that we broke out of on the way up above 5,000. So this would be kind of lining up with the 786 Fibonacci retracement down around about 4,250, and you'll notice that also does line up, especially more importantly for me, the 200 exponential moving average, this purple moving average right here on the weekly for spot charts, which CMEs are not going to have enough time to populate. You need at least 200 weeks to populate one, to take on it. It's not going to work like that. Anyways, that would be the more bearish view. And of course, that is only a consideration if we take out the low of this build at 6,320. So it's going to take some patience, but if that does happen, that is essentially what I'm looking for. And, again, can you have a little bit of patience if you're, looking at about $1,000 trade? Probably, and potentially $2,000 trade if it takes like the actual bearish route, which I would actually not be leaning towards here. Of course, going back on a spot chart, let's go down to the lower time frames and kind of judge what's going on over here. We were speaking about this last night on the live stream, that Bitcoin was likely to pop back down, test this blue box territory, and then pop back up to the 7,400-ish region. Happened again. I don't say these things to sound arrogant or come off arrogant. No, it's so that you can repeat these things and do it for yourself. And we've just seen this pattern so many fucking times where Bitcoin will basically put in like a little bit of ascending trog right over here. But at the end of the day, which way does it break? Breaks the upside. And I have a theory that because it's only traders really in this market, we're kind of getting a little bit of the FOMO crowd back in, a little bit of the retailer crowd back in, but mostly it's still traders. Everyone's looking at the same thing, and the easiest traders to fuck around with are the pattern traders. They are they're the least sophisticated, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for that. Never mind. There are good patterns, and there are good pattern traders, but for the most part, the first thing that people learn are patterns, and then the second thing that people learn are that patterns rarely work. Anyways, typically these things are supposed to break onto the downside, but that's always why I say I don't care what your name of your pattern is, whether it's a ascending triangle or an ascending triangle, whatever the fuck it is. I only care about support and resistance and how you react upon those areas. And this one obviously broke the resistance and moved up to our target of 7,400 a share, actually a little bit higher than that, all the way to 7,500 so far. So again, the ranges are still pretty much set. I don't really see any difference here. We're just kind of playing literally right in the middle of this whole, of this whole fucking clusterfuck. But overall, the pivots for what changes things, in my opinion, is going to be this blue box territory right over here at 6,900 to about 6,850. If that breaks to the downside, that would be an initial warning signal that we probably do take out our current low, and we do head down to the mid 5,000s, we'll say. And then this blue box territory right over here from about 7,600 to 7,650. Which if we break that one to the upside, then that would be an early warning signal that we are likely to move. Yes, we do have resistance right here, but we're very unlikely to stop there. I'll put it that way. Very unlikely to stop there. I do think that Bitcoin would make its way into the 8,000s. Once again, we'd probably find our next real resistance right around here, and actually probably make a shot towards 82 somewhere right around here. And that, this would just create one massive trading range, which actually would start to look a little bit more like reaccumulation. But for right now, these two paths, neither one has happened. We're quite literally in the middle of it. So I'm just describing scenarios of how it would react with regards to price action whether it took each and one of these paths. So plenty of edge on these trades. I don't have any problem with waiting for these sorts of things, but as long as we're within this range right over here, it's only a scalper's paradise right now. And if you miss the buy-in right over here, I wouldn't be chasing it, especially right in the middle of the range. I do not take trades in the middle of the range. But if we were to move our way up into the blue box territory, I probably will consider a little bit of a short, although I do not necessarily like trading on weekends. There has been some good action over the weekends these past couple. So perhaps I'll throw my trading gloves in the ring, if that's what you want to call it. But yeah, I would try short in here on first pass, and then if we take out the top side of this blue box, then I'll take it off and actually flip long, and then you probably got a nice $400-$500 trade on your hands. Of course, this is not financial advice, not financial advisor, but very easy trading, very easy on the soul right now. And Bitcoin's just been so opportunistic these past couple weeks, past 2 to 3 weeks, with the way that it's been swinging around. I mean, I pulled all my accounts from Forex and in other markets into, back into my Bitcoin accounts just because, well, the opportunity's here right now. Where else are you going to find 20% swings? Looking at my derivative account, I am holding on to this short, and I will be holding on to this short for a little bit of time. This June one, basically just covering this position, and then I will put on directional position if we break this area right here, or if we break this area right here. But as long as we're within this area, in this current area, I'll actually just be a scalper on these areas. So I'm waiting for I'm waiting for us to kind of get back. I think that we probably do move up into this area. Looking at our hourly Stokes, we do see them actually still kind of work higher. Looks like they want maybe a little bit more. Although I don't have a strong opinion on this, as you can see, we're literally right in the middle of this range, and that's my no trade zone. And are having a little bit of trouble actually here, right as well. But the 200 simple is still supporting price action. So if I did have to make a call off that, I would say that this is the one to be going off of. In fact, I can even raise this horizontal up and make it a little bit more precise. Going over to the 4 hour. 4 hour looks like we basically got that test of the 21 exponential. It doesn't need to be perfect all the way up to 75. What is it? 75.39. I mean, we got up to about 74.90. Close enough is close enough. We're dealing with bigger numbers now, so there is an error of there is like a margin of error now that we didn't really have before. Like before, the range would be like $20 to $50, and that was like a big move. For a 4 hour, it was fucking crazy. That's not too much opportunity. Well, now a 4 hour range can be $500. Like that's significant amount of opportunity right there, especially when you're talking about 100x leverage on some beautiful exchanges. So yeah, overall, 4 hour kind of does look to me like it wants to give a test formally into this blue box territory. 4 hour Stokes are headed back up. We saw them kind of get picked up, and they are defending the bearish controls, they're defending against the bearish controls and rejecting from it. And that does tell me that we do want to actually test up into this area. Looking at the 4 hour RSI, we are testing the exponential right here. The next kind of insight that I'd be looking for this time frame, even though it is a weekend, is I'd want to see the RSI take out the exponential and use it as support, and that would actually probably set this thing up for a run a little bit higher, and that would be another the confluence signal saying that, hey, likely to not stop at the 7600ish region, and likely to work its way higher. Now, I know a lot of people are calling this head and shoulders right now. We might have a head and shoulders in play. This actually could work as one with a neckline right here at about 6,900 even, and our right shoulder being put in right here. But if we move anywhere above 7,600, this will not be a head and shoulders. This will be a reaccumulation pattern, actually, and more of an ascending triangle over a longer period of time, something like this. We probably just put in a lot of time going sideways here. So again, understand the correlations between what this weekend price action is going to look like, because more than anything, I think it's I think the two scenarios that are most likely here is we either go sideways in a range between, and this is going to be a massive fucking range, between about 7,150 and an 8,000 for a week or two. I shouldn't say time frames, but probably about a week. Or we break to the downside and we do initiate that more aggressive pullback into those areas that we spoke about with regards to the CMEs. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I don't think that we're going to really be busting above our current highs like at this current level. It's going to take some time. Bitcoin had a pretty fucking aggressive move, man. This was from this breakout, from this base, about almost a 45% move. It's going to spend some time going sideways for a little bit, which I think is probably the most likely scenario. Looking at the daily, we already talked about this. Daily Stokes down, daily bearish divergence on the RSI, but we're likely to bounce off this area on the RSI, the edge of the bullish control zone, and pop back up and test the exponential on it. So again, these things take time. That's really what it all comes down to. It's a waiting game right now. The big moves were happening I mean, the relatively big moves were happening over the past couple of weeks. Right now, probably going to go into a little bit of consolidation more than anything. 12-hour looks okay. 12-hour looks like it does want to work its way a little bit higher. We do see 12-hour Stokes headed down. I do want to get rid of this. Not really appropriate. Hey, get off there. God damn it, TradingView. There you go. Autistic Gray just showing right now. And we do see 12-hour Jewel got about a perfect sell right over here on the 15th, right at the high, actually nailing it. So again, if you do have access to the Jewel, look at that as an example of what a really, 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 really good signal can look like. And overall, yes, a little bit of waiting does test your patience, even makes a little bit of a higher high along the way at 8,400, about $50 higher from the prior dildo. But after that, 20, what is this, a 20% retracement? it's not always going to be this good. Jesus Christ, man, 23 and a quarter. Wow. Not always going to be that good, but again, can you have a little bit of patience if that is potentially on the table? Absolutely. Or at least, I can't speak for everyone out there, but for myself, absolutely. Anyways, going over here to the 2-day, what do we have on the 2-day? 2-day is actually a perfect defense of the 10 simple moving average. We do see 2-day Stokes actually crossing it down, so this will confirm later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and this would be a little bit of a cause for caution as well, a little bit more of a bearish signal. We also will confirm below the exponential on the RSI as well. Again, another little cause for caution. You do see, however, though, we are in a little bit of a range. Using this as kind of like a regression, right? Just like a best fits, a best fits regression. We're in kind of a rising channel on the 2-day RSI for a very long time, ever since the November lows of 2018, actually. Sorry, not November lows of 2018, but the November spike down, that first major spike down from 6,000. So if this does break, I actually would be looking for a retracement on the 2-day RSI into the more neutral zone. That would be quite likely. So again, this is another major consideration to be having, but as you can see, it's also not necessarily like happening today, tomorrow, the next day. It's probably, if anything, at the fastest, it would happen like next week. 2-day Jewel not giving us anything right there. And yes, and on to the most important one actually right now is the 3-day. And the 3-day, the 3-day will be closing tonight as well. And I put significantly more importance on this than I do the 2-day. And the reason for that is because we have a chance to close above or below this white 200 simple moving average. We close above. I do kind of give the nod to the bulls. That is a sign of strength to have to close a massive wick like this above a major moving average, and to maintain above this moving average, to both open and close above this moving average is indicative of something new going on. You can see that while in 2014, 2015, it wasn't precise, it did get overall the general feeling of the market pretty damn well. When we lost the 200 simple right here, bear market territory. When we regained it right over here, or flirted around it for a little bit of time, that was the beginning of your bullish momentum as well. So if we actually can confirm above this at 8 p.m. Eastern time, I would give the nod to the bulls. If we do confirm below it, and this area is 7109 flat on Bitstamp, then I do think that that's going to be our initial warning that we will be heading lower. So again, this one, or also like maybe a 4-hour dildo close below 6,900, maybe even a 2-hour dildo close below 6,900. Those are the initial warning signs for some significant pullbacks. Like I said, areas of interest are going to be like 6,400, then 5,800, and then 5,400-ish area. All those ones have major potential, but I would give priority to the bottom two that I just mentioned as potential major reversals and major buys for long-term hodl positions. Okay. While we are here, I do want to check out the daily moving average just once again. We do see another, just a couple more things to be aware of here. We do have the Cyan 89 exponential moving average inching its way closer to the blue 377 exponential moving average, which is overall a good signal in my opinion. But I need to see them cross, and it's just going to be another lower period moving above a higher period, which sets the overall higher time frame trend. So if we can get all these moving averages above the blue 377, then yes, I would. I think that would be also another major indication that we've set in a massive bull base right around the mid to lower range of the 5,000s, and that is to be bought anytime that it comes back down. So again, very important from a more longer term look. The more time that Bitcoin spends above this area, then the more time that these moving averages have to crawl their way up, up above, and that just sets the foundation for a run further higher over a longer period of time. Going over here to the weekly, we've kind of already spoken enough about this. We do see that just all major moving averages converging around this 5,400-ish level. You do see the Cyan 89, the green 55, which actually are going to have a bullish cross as long as Bitcoin doesn't dump before end of weekend below 5,500. And we will see the red 10 simple and the yellow 20 mics benchmark moving average actually get a little bit close to these and also get in this range as well. Just another indication that, hey, that area is an area of hot contention. If we are to come back down around there, massive support being built. Not only that, but we do see all these moving averages right over here where they're coming in around 5,400. That's the blue 377. Also the 200 exponential going to be crawling its way. We see the 3-day 200. We see the 2-day 200 as well. And if we go to the monthly, most importantly, especially been tuning this content for a while, the yellow 20 mics benchmark moving average is coming in where? 54.50 actually. So anywhere within that range, like 5,500, give or take a few bucks, is really where I'd be looking for if we did have a massive bear attack. That's essentially, where I'd be actually a buyer. And if we do break that area, then we can talk about coming back down to low 4,000s. So easy, so very big edge trades are showing themselves in the face, but we're still pretty damn far away from actually initiating these. So for now, again, lower time frames is really, all there is to do, and it's just scalping. It's not really like hodling these trades. At least that's my disposition. We do see monthly over here is we do see monthly Stokes actually very erect, crossing to the upside. I do like that. We do see monthly RSI taking out the exponential in this. I like this as well. It will very, 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 very likely come back down and test that exponential at some point in time, but on a monthly time frame, we're maybe talking like 2-3 months out. More importantly, we can see that we have some nice major moving averages within this region, and overall, I like what I see here. Looking at, I want to go back and check out GBTC really quick. How did he close on Friday? Yeah, a little bit to the downside as well. I'm going to guess that this weekly looks pretty nasty. Yes, indeed. And look at this. The volume on this rejection really, 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 really intense, actually. Quite a violent rejection. So this would be a little bit more on the bearish side. Again, I don't know how much weight I put on GBTC, although we do have a nice kind of island top going on right here, which is, a pretty nasty bearish reversal pattern, actually. I would kind of lean to the downside based off this. Let's go check out traditional marks, see how they close the week out. Where's my spies? How you doing, spies? There we go, 85, almost 80, 286. But is a rejection off the yellow 20 minutes benchmark moving average and the red 10 simple. So looking at the weekly, how did the weekly close? The weekly closed okay, not great. It does actually look to me like it probably wants to test back up around the high 280s to low 290s region. But this is looking. I really wanted to see it close above the 10 simple right here at 287.5 for to be a lot more convictive of a move higher. We didn't really get that. In fact, this looks potentially a little bit more like a top, but I think that this is best to be judged on a monthly. Does the monthly close above or below 284.5? If the monthly close below 284.5, probably going to be bearish. Looking for a move ultimately down over the next couple months towards 269.5. If we close above, then this run still has some juice in it, and our oscillators do actually suggest that bulls do take the cards right now. Monthly Stokes have been defending this region ever since 2009, and we just kind of bounced off it and are gaining momentum to the upside, so I do like that. However, monthly RSI is getting rejected by the exponential, so I am pretty split on this. I really wouldn't be making too many trades if not for the lower time frames on something like this until my camera working? Yes. Okay, is it working? Is the autofocus good? Keeps on switching the colors up. Maybe it's my lighting that needs a little bit of work. Maybe that's a problem. Who knows, man? Who fucking knows? But yeah, that's kind of what I'd be waiting for is the month in which we still got about another week and a half of trading, 2 weeks of trading maybe, to kind of set that one in stone. We're on the 18th of May currently right now, but these do not trade on the weekend, unfortunately. Weekly Stokes will be coming down, so lower time frames a little bit more bearish, I suppose you could say. Daily Stokes coming up. So do we bounce up first and then continuation down to about 277, 278-ish area? Kind of what should I say that I'm leaning towards that? I'm not necessarily I don't really lean towards too much on the lower time frames. Trading spies is very difficult on the lower time frames. This one has bi-weekly expirations for options, so a lot of games are going to be played as the game. The game for the market movers is to fuck as many premium buyers as possible, because that's usually retailers trying to gamble on this shit, and the best way to do that is to get moves like you see over here, basically, not doing all that much. Like your moves has to happen on certain days, otherwise otherwise it kind of fucks around with those expirations. So yeah, let's go check out Mr. Beaterall, how the top shitcoin's doing today. Mr. Beaterall actually closing above the 377. Not a bad close. Not a bad close at all. Looking at the daily Stokes, they are getting weaker here, but Stokes, I don't trust too much for trending moves. The question is, do we put in a high here? Do we put in a high? Looking at the daily RSI, yes, it got pretty high itself. But again, I don't care how high the RSI gets. I mean, it's just the RSI bros. The fucking bro. That RSI too high. It's too fucking high. Sell it. It's the same dumb shit as the people down here are saying, bro, this RSI, that's screaming buy. It's like, no, it's screaming you're wrecked as fuck, because it's not until you get divergence that actually does seem to play out. Now, I am a little bit split on this just because the daily actually did have a good close. The weekly looks fine the way it is. I've no problem from this, on a weekly perspective. But let's go down to the lower time frames and see where the pressure points would be. And I'd say you have a very obvious one right around 231.5. If 231.5 gets violated, then I would be looking for a move down to about 214, 215. That's going to completely eradicate the weekly, which is going to make it look like a massive rejection. So these next 2 days of price action fucking critical. If this thing can close like it is right now, anywhere above 230, good. I like it. 231. I think that's a great setup. Actually, we probably do try higher towards 330 would be next target, but really like 370, 380. I think would be in reach. Now, if we do end below, if we do end down in the lower 200s, then we get to talk about the fun topic of retracing all the way back down to about 175 and then 160ish area. All these areas of importance. But as far as I look at, weekly Stokes are actually crossing down. Weekly RSI looks fine to me, actually, but really spent a long time away from this exponential, which typically likes to come back down and test it. So again, I would, I'd be very, 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 very cognizant of the, that critical region. Lower time frames will likely show it right around 230-ish area. If we lose 230, very likely that we come down to like 210-ish, 215-ish, and that's going to destroy the weekly and have implications with making it look absolute dog shit. Probably going to be accompanied by Bitcoin, taking out 6,900, whichever one, happens first. And that would be the more bearish, initiate the more bearish scenario. Until that happens, though, I actually think that this is okay. This isn't, a huge cause for concern, I think. However, I would be going off that pivot. And like I said, I really dislike trading on weekends. Looking at the monthly, we are right at the yellow 20-month exponential moving average and still about 12 days left to go. It needs to close above if we're to see this continue overall. And I'd really actually want to wait for that whole confirmation just because you saw what happened on Bitcoin when we got it. And so we are having a similar setup here with the monthly with the monthly Stokes crossing back up to the upside. But it actually looks really, really similar to 2014, 2015 on Bitcoin. I can't believe I fucking said that. God damn it. But you get my point. So should I overlay this? I'm not going to overlay it, but I don't want to get in that discussion right now. But again, the weekly close is going to be the side of that. If we close down below here, we're gonna retest, and we're not just gonna retest likely like 165 or 160. We're gonna come back down probably to like low 100s. But again, right here, right now, the way that's currently situated, that looks completely fine to me. Looks completely fine as far as weekly look goes. Okay, what else we got, baby? What else we got? Let's go check out Mrs. Litecoin. How's this beautiful bitch doing? She does not look too healthy right here, having a massive wick to the upside. So a little bit of a shooting star dildo on decent volume. But let's go down to a daily and see what it's doing. Yeah, and the daily's still holding it up. I don't have a big problem with this one either. As long as the daily's closing above $83.50. Fine by me. If we do lose $83.50, and yes, then we got a problem because we're likely to come back down to 77.5. And I mean, really, we're not going to stop at 77.5. We're going to come all the way down to about 68, 60, maybe even 62, 63 down to this region. It would not look good. We do see daily Stokes crossing the downside, fresh cross. We do see weekly Stokes also, coming to the downside, but a little bit on the weaker side. I'd still give this one room to breathe, and it's likely to follow Bitcoin and Mr. Buteral, as those are the two leaders right now, and those are the two. Those charts are easy to read. So again, major pivot coming up. Did we see the highs of this run at 107? I mean, basically the edge of our target right here. It's likely that you get some sell pressure there. It's not a death sentence, but would be careful with it. And more importantly, I just watched Bitcoin and Buteral. Again, whenever I talk about other altcoins and whatnot, more easy to watch Bitcoin. They're more often than not just going to follow him. More often than not. Checking out Cardano. Again, Cardano needs to be judged on a weekly time frame. Weekly, if it closes like this, I would be looking for a continuation of the upside, likely towards actually 1,400 Satoshis. Daily does not look too strong here, but I'd wait for the weekly to close. If the weekly can close anywhere above 1050-ish area, I do give the nod to the bulls, and I do think that we just put in another, at the very least a local low and maybe a cycle low, potential cycle low, but definitely a local low if we can close anywhere above 1050-ish area. and I would be targeting, like I said, move towards about almost 1400. If not, if we close below about 1050, then we get to make some new lows, baby. We get to make some new lows. What else we got? BNB Krown, BNB looking good actually over here, picking itself back up. And look at this, a great defense off the yellow 20 exponential moving average. We just got a bullish cross of the red 10 simple and the yellow 21. I really like that. And to me, this one probably actually does try higher. The only way that I get bearish on this one is if we actually came back down. If we come back down to 23 spot 7s. I apologize for my dyslexia apparently. If we do come back down to 23 spot 7, and I'm saying like even just come back down around there, that would not look too good. If we take out the low of yesterday at 23 spot 14, then yes, I would say there's no more waiting to be needed. I'll be taking an immediate short position, probably back down to this 19 spot 87 region, maybe even all the way down to 18.5. And that would make the weekly look very bad. But I actually don't think that that's likely to happen. I think that the more likely thing is that the weekly wants to move upwards and onwards. We are technically in a blue sky breakout and having just a nice consolidation after this breakout. So I would be giving it the benefit of the doubt. I'm curious what the monthly looks like. Monthly looks completely fine to me as it stands, but we still got, still got another 12 days left to go. But if we close anywhere like this on the monthly, we will get shouldn't say that. We will very likely get continuation. Yeah, you get what I'm fucking saying, right? 4 hour looks like it wants up. 4 hour Stokes back up, erect. 4 hour RSI just consolidating. Maybe come back down and stab 25 and a quarter first, but overall I would, it kind of looks like it wants to get picked up there. We do see a nice uptrend line forming right here, obviously. So yeah, I'd be meeting up right there at about 25. In some odd sense. Zcash, what Zcash doing? Actually, in the more immediate time frames, very similar to BNB. Daily though looks a lot more like a rejection off the 200 exponential moving average. I would be, certainly on the weaker side as far as the majors go. Again, I'd be cognizant of the weekly. If the weekly can close anywhere above $69.50, I would be bullish overall for a move, in the next week or two, back up to this 90, almost $96 region. Actually, Bcash, what's Bcash doing? Pretty nasty wick on this one as well. Not a good signal for me, man. Not a good signal for me. Massive rejection right here on this, what do you want to call it? Shooting star, doji still on heavy volume, follow through on top of that. Holding it above all major moving averages still, so that's okay. But I'd wait for the weekly to close. If we do violate 332 beforehand, though, that's going to be very bad. If we violate this area right here, if we violate the 21 exponential moving average, this thing's going to come back down likely to about 229, 230. So the stakes are high right now. The stakes are very high, but likely to follow the rest of the market a little bit on the stronger side in comparison to the other top shitcoins. But still, this stakes are high on that one. Tron Cash in a very obvious rejection right over here. Actually, just another lower high now, isn't it? Okay, let's see. Just getting notifications on my computer, very fucking annoying. Anyways, does it find support here and give another try? I don't have a strong opinion on this one, actually. I really don't. The other ones I feel a little bit more strongly on. This one, not so much. This one kind of has been its own little rogue territory, been in a massive trading range, really just something like this, right? Be it buyer and support, selling resistance. That's all you've had to do. Ranges are pretty massive. Weekly doesn't look too hot with a massive wick like this, but if it does close anywhere above 2.5 cents, I think that would be generally okay. Neo Cash needs to close the weekly above $11. If it fails to do that, we're coming back down, baby. And if we even violate the daily close below $11, I'd be the first one to call and move back down to about $9.50. So again, the stakes are high here, and again, just another lower high. EOS, one of the stronger ones, I'd say. Weekly coming off of rejection off this 680-ish area, but you don't destroy a run in 1 week. We do see weekly Stokes have a cross on the downside, fresh cross. So I am a little bit hesitant in this area. Would be a little bit protective, but again, same sort of setup here. As long as we maintain above 550, and it does look like it actually wants to come back down and test about 570, which we did talk about yesterday. It looks like we actually did get yesterday. It wouldn't be a death sentence, but if we do close below 550 on a higher time frame, I'd be looking for an overall move back down to about 470. Most likely. Mr. Ripple Me Nipples Cash, finding resistance here, actually wants to come back down, but I would be okay. Let's actually get this one right on this time frame. Okay, so this is a very interesting chart to me. This is a bearish chart. Don't get me wrong, this is a bearish chart, but we actually broke out to the upside. And is it going to be a fact that we come back down and test this area right here where all these moving averages are converging on each other first, get picked up there, and then try higher? Because we actually did break up to the upside on decent volume. And the weekly looks okay, but the weekly is not closed just yet. And depending upon how you kind of represent this, it's going to really dictate the next the next direction. If the weekly closes anywhere below 33.5 cent, very bearish. Very fucking bearish. If the weekly closes above about 33.5 cent, maybe even 34 cent would be a little bit more confidence inducing. Then I do think that we've set in a low here and we do work our way higher towards, well, actually like 51, 52 cents. What about Manero Cash? Manero Cash coming off rejection off the 89 weekly. That got all the way up to our almost $98 target. We do see weekly stows crossing the downside as well. Again, a little bit of a warning signal here. Rejection of the 377. Needs to hold up above $77. Otherwise, trouble down to 63.5. Stellar Rumens holding up above the 200 exponential. Actually, a little bit on the stronger side, I guess you could say. Weekly, I'd still be making these decisions on the weekly. Weekly needs to close above 12 cents. Anywhere above 12 cents, and I am generally cool with it. If it does close below 12 cents, then we got a problem. If we can close above 13.25 cents, then I'd actually be bullish immediately for a move probably towards 19 cents. I think that pretty much covers all of the top shitcoins. Let's go back to Mr. Bitcoin, wrap this bitch up. And again, lower time frames still very, 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 very clear. Hasn't really changed too much since we last spoke. Blue box territory right over here between 6850 and 6900. If Bitcoin breaks that, I'm looking for a move down towards about 66 on the lower time frames first target, then 64, and then 5800. 5800 with the potential to actually have a potential reversal, and if that area fails in 54 to 55-ish area, as we spoke about in the beginning of this video, is where I'd be looking towards. By the same token, this blue box territory to the upside, around 76 to 7650. If that gets broken, I'd be looking for a move ultimately back up to about a little bit above 8,000, and probably back up to like 8,200. But until we actually break one of these areas, it's just a scalper's paradise. I'd be looking for shorts here, looking for buys here, and just playing the range, as it has been making it quite easy on quite easy on ourselves. We will be closing this next 4 hour in the next 58 minutes, so I would be cognizant of this. Do we cross these 4 hour Stokes down on the next closure? Then yes, we probably do come back down and sweep 70-50ish area. If we do gain more momentum up though, then I would be looking for a full on test into this blue box territory, which you could actually already you could make the argument that we already tested it. If we use the 4 hour total time frame and account for that wick, then yes, I mean I'd pretty much consider this a test of the 21 and the blue box, and that was actually the sell right there. But again, we're literally right in the middle of the range. This is a no trade zone. Trades right here, and breakout trades above or below these areas. Not so much within this region. If I had to make a call of what's gonna, what the next move is gonna be, we probably do come back down on lower time frames and sweep this area right around 71 to 7,000-ish area, and then figure it out from there. But for right now, that's gonna do it. I'm gonna go and I don't know what I'm going to do, but you know what? I'm probably not going to do too much trading today. Anyways, with that said, I want to wish you a very nice and relaxing start to your weekend, all the way over here from Tallinn, Estonia. And with that said, I'll be back on tomorrow with some more video action, some more analyses. Anyways, take care and see you soon.